All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Spotlight edition on this podcast here. My name is Ron Klinger. I'm your host with Motivational Transitions and the Altruism Foundation.org, president of the board. We're here to tell a great story with Mr. Daniel Alvarez. Good morning, good afternoon, Daniel, from Houston. You're out in California with St. Paul High School. We're here to tell a great story about your students, about your school, and about the impact that you've made. Y'all are the first school that's been able to document and validate and track and report that's made $1 million of community impact, not actual dollars, but volunteer hours translated to that $1 million. What does that mean for you, for your school, and for your students?
You know, just to start, thank you for having us.
Amen.
We are very, very, very proud of this. As a community, as a school, as a faculty, knowing that our students are making an impact out in our community makes us very proud, and we're blessed to be able to do this for our community.
Yeah, and the crazy, if people don't know and understand, so when we talk about impact, right, that's the hours that your students are giving out into the community times what the federal government puts down as the value of a volunteer hour. So it's about 30,000 hours of community service and volunteer in your community over a 2-year period of time that's made that $1 million impact. How does that happen in 2 years?
Well, we first of all, we're a Catholic high school here in Santa Fe Springs, California, and each of our students is asked to do service around the community, whether it be at a school, whether it be at a park, at a library, wherever people need help. They have to do 25 hours a year. Okay. And we have 400 students that need to do this before graduation.
So graduation requirement, it's a part of the culture and the belief and the value system within your school.
Correct. So if you start freshman year, by senior year, you should have accumulated 100 hours of service in the community. We have a thing called a red cord, which at graduation, students that do over 200 hours receive a red cord in graduation. This year we had 18 seniors receive that red cord that did above 200 hours of service in the community throughout their 4 years at St. Paul.
Wow, that's amazing. That's significant impact. And not only do you get to see the impact on that from the students as a whole, they get to see the individual impact that they're making as well, too. Is that correct?
Yes, they do that. Well, with Alterize, as you know, the impact is shown when they log on to their account. It tells them exactly how many hours and how many of those hours, how is that impacting the community in a sense. And they love that. They know that they're making a difference, and you can tell they're competitive now, that they want to do it more. They want to be able to say, I'm helping this much in my community. And it's not only here in Santa Fe Springs, Whittier area. They go to a lot of different places around LA to do service for others.
That's awesome. And they get that immediate impact. They're driving that bus. So it's a part of not only what you're doing as a requirement for your school, for your culture, as a part of being a Catholic high school, but really the impact that's making on each individual student's huge.
Yeah. They if you ask our students after they graduate, they come back 5-10 years later, there's two things that they always talk about: service projects, and one thing we're going to talk about later is our March for Hunger. That is huge. They love it, and both of them are geared towards what we believe is social justice and helping those in need, which is we're rooted in that in our school, and the kids know that, and it's part of who we are.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So huge role. Not only does this take place within your specific high school, but also within the Catholic faith in your community, correct? With the Archdiocese?
Correct. So every year, the Archdiocese, they have a mass in which they recognize the top earners of service hours of every high school in the diocese. And this year, our young lady, she had over 385 hours completed.
385?
Yeah, 385 hours completed of service. She did service in She was animal shelters. She did service at a place called the Orange County Cube, which is tutoring for kids. She did service at beach cleanups. She was all over from the mountains to the ocean, helping out kids, not only in our community, like I said, but here in the Los Angeles area. And we're proud of her.
That's awesome. So she got recognized at a higher level outside of that cord and that red cord for graduation, over 200 hours.
Correct.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So she went over to our cathedral here in Los Angeles, and like I said, there was a mass, and at the end of mass, all the students that were the top earners of each school were recognized. She was one of the top.
And how many schools are recognized in total in the area?
It's the whole high school. I believe we have something like 80 something schools.
Wow. So being one out of 80 some schools is huge opportunity to make that impact. That's 385 hours.
Yeah. And of course, every hour needs to be verified, and we have to show the diocese of this verification. And that's where Alvarez comes into play.
Yeah. Tell some more of that story. You know, if it's a requirement, you have to have some way with integrity to be able to report, and track, and validate that. Tell me more about how that landed in your lap, and how did you begin to use Alvarez to help support the students and your school?
So it basically landed on our laps, like you said. Last year, we were looking for someone, a new company to help us in this mission of ours. Mm-hmm. And we had a principal, Lester, Dr. Aquino, that had some kind of connection with the ACE program, with the ACE. And it was an alumni that said, hey, maybe come and check this company out. And we played with the software and for about a month. And we said, you know what? I think the kids would like this, because it's easy enough for them to use as teenagers.
Yep.
But in an administrative sense, it's very comprehensive, in which we know that the hours that are being verified are verified by people that we say, okay, that is a verifier.
Yeah.
Whereas the company we previously used, anybody could verify.
Gotcha.
In this sense, we like it here at St. Paul that we verifiers, and we know who they are. We know what organization they're from. We know most of them are nonprofits, because that's what we tell our kids, to go work in nonprofits and with people that really need the help. And with that, it made our life much easier to know that once those hours are verified, we know they're good, and the student actually went to do service at a place where they are needed.
Yeah, it's that integrity of that data that I'm assuming for you and your administrators is significant, because you're tying that to being able to confer and offer your degrees upon graduation.
100%. You know, service hours are one of the most important things in our school, and the integrity of it is very important. We make sure that, first of all, that they complete their 100 hours if they're there 4 years. I'm sorry, and we make sure that those hours were verified, and that they weren't just something that they didn't learn anything from. It's important, being that we are a Catholic school, that they go and complete these hours at places where they are needed, where they could be Christ for someone and working for others.
Right. Bringing that servant heart out into the community as extension, not only of themselves, but of the school as well.
Exactly what altruism stands for, that unselfish act, that act that nothing in return, that is just to become a better human being here on this earth.
And that is the founding purpose of Alvarez in and of itself, the app and the Altruism Foundation. Absolutely.
And to be honest, when we spoke to Nicole and she gave us her whole her story, her background on that, she just wants to serve as well, and this is a way that she's doing it. That was a good selling point. It was a very good selling point, and it basically just reiterated everything we tell the kids every year. That we don't do this because we want you to go out. No, we do this because we want you to learn. You don't only learn in the classroom; you also learn out with the people, helping those that are in need, helping young children, whether it be playing basketball or doing a project. It's just helping others is what's going to really keep this world going and becoming a beautiful place.
Amen. And I think to your point and bringing this world together, we need it really now more than ever,
Well,
right? We need those models, we need those examples. And I will be transparent. Those of us that support Nicole, who is the founder of Ultra Eyes, and what we're doing, we're all of that same belief. We're all of that same value structure. We're all of that same desire to make that impact, to tell that better story. Because if you can't get excited about high school students going out and making $1 million of impact, wow, I don't know what to tell you on that one. It's just amazing. It's just a great story to tell. And with that being said, what might you tell your peer group? So if there are other high school administrators or volunteer coordinators or others that are out there who are trying to do the same, who are trying to make that impact, what would you tell them about Ultra Eyes, and what would you tell them about the process and what that's actually been able to do specifically for your school and your students by using Ultra Eyes as a support?
Well, first and foremost, I would tell them what we said to ourselves last year. Let's just give it a try. Nicole was awesome. She said, let's give us a try, play around with the program for a couple of months. And after we spoke, we were still like, well, we've been with this other program for so long. And she said, well, let's just give it a year. Let's see how it goes. And you know what? It took less than a year to know this is a good program. It works. Yeah. It works. I don't want to say it this way, but it's easy enough for a kid to do it, because we don't forget they're teenagers.
Yeah, they're still kids. They're still growing. They're still learning, right?
Freshmen are 14 years old. They're like, what is this? We don't know what this is, but it makes it very easy for them to sign up. Number one.
Yep.
It makes it very easy for them to input their hours, and it makes it very easy for us in the administrative side to verify those hours and know that those hours are legitimate hours.
Yeah, legitimate hours, and that's the story that we're really here to tell. That I know is a differentiator, right? When you can have faith, pun fully intended on every level of that the data has its integrity, again, tied to the conferring of degrees, tied to the impact, but moreover, knowing that those are being recorded. Well, there's a story that's telling for every single student.
Yeah, and you know what? That's just something comes up to mind right now. When they input, there's always a description of what they do, and we take a look at that. Some kids put, I went over to the park and I helped feed the homeless, and we fed over 200 meals in one day.
Wow!
And then you see that because it comes up in my email, or depending on who's verifying. In that sense, or who their teacher is,
right?
And we'll have a little chat with them on Monday. Let's say, hey, I saw that you went to go donate your time over there, and they love that. It makes them feel validated. It makes them feel like they're making a difference in the world. And you know what? For a 14, 15, 16, or 17-year-old at that age, young adult, it's huge. It's huge. And we really like that component of it, where we ask them to write a paragraph at most.
Yeah.
What did they do, and what did they learn?
Yep.
And now, you would be surprised. Some of the things I get teary reading what they learned from just doing something as simple as going to a convalescent home, not wanting to go, but they go and donate 2 hours, and then they'll write about thinking about their grandparents. And they're so happy that they still have their grandparents, and their grandparents can still do stuff with them. Just little things like that are popping to mind right now, that when you're asking questions.
Yeah, well, and I think the piece of the equation that's going to resonate is not only is it helping you understand their story, it's them being able to tell a better story, not only now, but later in life, as you've already highlighted, but moreover, it's creating those memories that through those challenging years, right, of high school and transition and everything that comes along with it, right, they're out doing good. They're out doing good and being a good model in society for what they're doing by telling that better story.
Yeah, our school, like I said earlier, we're rooted in this Catholic belief that social justice is important, helping our neighbors is important, because that's what Jesus wanted us to do. And when they leave, they understand that. I really do believe our students understand that, and they do. Don't get me wrong; it's because we ask them to do these hours, and it's something. But being able to put it on right in writing for themselves is very important. It's a very important component.
Well, and they get to take that information with them. It doesn't just stop here when they graduate. They get
Correct.
to use the app and continue their journey to continue to tell their growth and their story beyond high school by using Alvarez.
Correct. We tell them that as well, that when they open their account, that's their account. We can't go in there and change anything. That is 100% their account. When they leave and they continue to do service, even if it's just for themselves, put it in Alvarez. You know, when you become, I always tell them this joke, when you become an old man like me and you're able to get into Alvarez when you're 47 years old and you see, oh my God, I've done 1,000 hours of service since I was in high school and the impact is $500,000. You know, you're able to feel better about yourself and say, you know what, I'm trying to do good in this world. I always tell my students, you know what, let's leave this world in a better place than when we found it.
Amen to that.
And how do we do that? It's very simple: loving our neighbors and loving God. That's all I tell them.
Amen to that. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I like, I use it as well. I love being on the administrative side. I love putting the comments back to whoever's volunteering to not only, I love the fact that you guys use it to engage and develop those rich and meaningful relationships and affirmation for those students, but also being able to put it in, hey, love what you're doing, keep doing the great work, and actually put that in there. Well, that stays with them as well too, right? So it's a great momentum. It keeps building that snowball of going out and doing good.
Yeah, I like that feature as well. It takes a sentence. That's all you need to write.
Yeah, you do it on your phone, you can do it on wherever you're at. Like you can be sitting there waiting for the bus stop or waiting to go in somewhere, doctor's office, and you can manage it so simplistically. So it's not an extra add, it's an extra ease because it's on your phone, it's on the computer. Yeah.
I know I'm reiterating, it's a very simple, when I say simple, I mean, it's simple but effective.
Yeah.
It's effective communicating tool between the students, ourselves as administrators, educators, and the people that they are there to help, whoever's in charge of that certain service project, and we really like it for the last year and a half.
Amen. So let's close with this. You had talked about, there was another story you said you wanted to tell. There's a great story about a march for food. I'm trying to put it all together. So
this is our biggie here at St. Paul High School. We're known for this, not only in here in the Los Angeles area, but in California, and we get donations from all over the state, the country for this march. We have a march every year. We used to have it in December, but after COVID, we switched it to March in March. So we march in March.
Love it.
We march 26 miles, which is like a marathon. We start at in East LA.
Okay.
And we go from East LA to downtown LA to Hollywood, and we end in Santa Monica.
Okay. Out at the pier.
Yeah. So this whole thing is for the Catholic Worker Soup Kitchen in downtown LA that feeds the homeless in Skid Row.
Okay.
Just on a little side note, every Friday, our students, 5 of our students, are given the opportunity to go feed at the Catholic Worker and work at the Catholic Worker, and every senior is given the opportunity. So it's only for seniors, and every year everybody goes. Plus, they go maybe twice to basically cook and get meal preps ready to feed over 250 homeless individuals. And you should, Ron, you should just see what they write and what they learn from that experience. That's a whole other conversation we have. So of the 450 students we have in our school, approximately about 350 sign up for this March for Hunger. And they do this march by donating to the Catholic Worker.
Okay.
So we start off with Mass here at St. Paul. We load them up in a bus. We drive them to Boyle Heights, East LA area. We get off. We have a prayer service, and we all march wearing our T-shirts, our St. Paul T-shirt. I should have worn one today, but I'm wearing a
I can tell you got it there representing.
Yeah, and they march, and at the end of the march, we have them do a little write-up as well. And they get service hours, of course. So they input their service hours. Once they get to Santa Monica, we have the QR code. They scan it unauthorized, and automatically they're giving their 26 miles. That's a feature we've never had before. It makes it so easy for us. Before we had to do it manually, sign them all out. No, we don't do that anymore. Now we love the QR code feature on the altruism.
Yeah, for that one-day big event, that's extremely helpful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's at least 4 hours of work that is alleviated for me. So I love it. Yeah. But so they talk about this change in demographics. They see how it is in East LA to downtown, where we pass by Skid Row basically, to Hollywood, and then Beverly Hills, and like, oh my God, the difference and they really understand why we do these things. They see, you know what, there are people in need there, because we are blessed. We have a home. They're able to come to school. Their parents pay for their education. So these are kids that are blessed. But when they're able to see how the people that really need our help live, really makes an impact in their life. And I am not a St. Paul alum. I've been working at St. Paul for 10 years, but I am the soccer coach there as well. And I get these kids that come back and say, Mr. Alvarez, you guys still do the march? And this is like 10 years later. Yeah. How can I help? Well, just send your donations. And we have people sending donations to sponsor other kids that can't afford to pay for their donation. And it's just something that keeps the community together.
Okay, that one gave me the good goosebumps of the of the give back and the ripple effect of that event alone, let alone being able to give back later. That's what it's all about.
That's something we're really, really proud about. Like I said, this happened 52 years ago. We had a teacher there, Dan Giroux, that was big on social justice, social change, and helping those in need. And they went with it. And ever since I've been there, we've done it every year. For the last 2 of the last 3 years, I've been the coordinator of it, and I've been in charge of it. I'm probably going to do that from now on. That's going to be because now that I'm in charge, I'm the service hours.
You're hooked. You're in there.
Yeah, so it just makes sense. It's something that I have passion about. It's something that I believe is important, and it's something that I teach my own kids as well. The service to others, just like we said, altruism. Not expecting anything in return, and just being and leaving this place a better world when we go up to heaven.
Amen. Well, and you all have done that. You're all continuing on that path. I can't wait to see in a year and a half, 2 years, the $2 million club, right? Of making an impact in your community by being able to use Alterize, have the integrity behind that data, and get in track. So, Mr. Alvarez, Daniel, thank you so much for your time. Any last thoughts you want to share with anybody that may be watching this out there that's doing similar work like you, or parting thoughts?
Well, let's hook up. Everybody have any questions, they could come with the march. We could send some kids to other schools. I would love to get over to any part of the United States that we can to be able to help those that are in need. And just on a side note on Alterize, for us here at St. Paul has really worked. It has helped us with this process of collecting hours, but it's also helped us with knowing that the kids are doing it, and they're doing it and learning from it and becoming better human beings. And if anybody has any questions about it, and because we were one of the pilot schools, and I felt bad for Nicole because we would email her every week or every couple of days, like, could we add this feature? Could we add this feature? And within a week, everything was added. And as of right now, we love it.
Amen. Well, I think that's that servant heart again, trying to give so that can exponentially be paid forward. So, Daniel, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it. I know summer started for you, but can't thank you enough for being of support, not only of Alterize, but what you're doing and being a great role model and a great example for students to follow. And giving back to that community and making that impact. So we thank you for your time. We wish you nothing but a great and peaceful summer and a successful years to come. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and God bless.
Amen.